guys, welcome back to the Dirt Journal, Quest for Details, and we're going to do some pruning, cleaning up, and summer prepping on the trees, tarring and painting and getting them ready. So come on along. In this situation, I'm built down at creek level here. We've had to fortify it with huge logs. One of the backhoe drivers from around here brought, you can't see them, but there are massive boulders holding up the uphill side of this. And so what we have is very slow, low-flowing water. We leave a line of willows. If we would have cleared anything out there, the water's force would come straight in here and wipe this out. So there's a row of willows that absorb and defer most of the water pressure. You can see the little chutes here is where all the sand piles up from. And we just kind of continuously add to it with what we can. But it comes in here almost to the base of the rock turrets over here, and it's real low, slow silt, so it deposits like Nile silt, which is really awesome. So we put down bark and it buried that, but I have a row of rocks here around each one, and we're subgrade at this point, meaning below ground, which is okay. We use this as our little border, and then all of this will eventually break down. We put a lot of bark in here, and then the river came in for 2 years and silted us in, which is awesome. You can see the level of the stone, so it's not a heavy silt, but you got to clear it out by hand. We're going to make sure that we're right down at the crown. You know, we don't want to expose roots. We don't have to worry about top dressing and mulching because, of course, this is the fines, meaning this is broken down stuff from upstream, rock, mineral, and leaf turned into compost and then washed in here. That's what river silt is. So it's just some of the best stuff in the world already, and we're basically taking away the too much of the top dressing, and then we're going to paint them to keep from sun scorch and help with the sun, help seal up wounds, which will keep the insects from coming in through the wounds, like boar beetles and stuff. That's what you'll see me doing. And then basic directional pruning. These were, some of the main work is just taking off the tops and then choosing a bud on each one that faces the direction you want it to grow. And that's directional. Each one of these buds is like an arrow pointing out, and it shows you where it's going to grow a new branch. So you prune it above that. Personal choices. Do you want to climb on a ladder, or do you want to be able to stand there and harvest your fruit and protect your fruit and stuff from ground level, 2-foot level ladder? That depends on what you're doing too. Are you planting orchard size 20-foot trees you're going to harvest with orchard ladders, or are you doing semi-dwarf like these and aiming for maximum what you can reach with a ladder? So we've already done a lot of the shape pruning on these. We have peach, pomegranate, another peach, different varieties of peach. We have pears, apples, plums, Santa Rosa plums, figs, and then the strawberries here in the flats, and the vegetable garden in the back. So that's what you're going to see. This is a little parking spot where it's gravelled aside from the bark, and for a motorhome or whatever parking equipment to go here. And the gravel that was brought in had latent seeds in it, which is real common, which is okay. But our issue is that we don't want it to spread in there. Basically sterile. This is just bark that we put in really thick as a weed screen, and then wildflowers that we spread. So you don't want undesirables to pop out and get a single season off on you, or else you're trying to pull them and catch up with them. So we're ahead of them. So this is our technique that I've come up with this year. Usually I use the propane burner in here and I scorch them out because we don't like to use poison on this property. And that's one of the techniques. You can't weed whack them when they're dry and seeded, or else they'll throw their seeds with the weed whacker out into the barked areas. So this year what we came up with was we're using all the prunings and all the branches and stuff in these little fast piles. I made each one so it's really hot to burn, and we're going to move them around and we'll scorch the ground with them. So it's free fuel. We're getting rid of our stuff. Tomorrow it's going to rain a little bit, and that's the idea, is that all this little veg that you see that you'd have to pay for propane to burn off or pay for poison, we will be eliminating. I lit a fire here and you can see how well it scorches everything away. So free ground clearing, free weed control, and free brush scrubbing all at once, instead of making one big pile out of this. We'll use the destructive power of fire as something positive here. Clean out our gravel. All the poppies everywhere, evergreen that you see is all solid poppy. This is all California poppy, going crazy, eating up the staircase. But the orchard is looking pretty good. I stopped, besides the cars, I was noticing the mimosa here. Just talking to you, you hear that? There's a change in the weather coming, but all the dry seeds on this are rattling away. That's pretty cool. Here's a shot down the orchard with all their irrigation cleaned out. Do this time of year. Be the ant instead of the grasshopper. Get it done early, turn stuff on before you need the water, get stuff painted up. I've already pruned all these, tarred all these trees, cleared around their bases, checked the irrigation, have all that going on, and start pulling undesirables. Let me show you a couple of other things I did. This is the tar that I use. When we got these grapes, they were already in these bent forms, which is hard to prune out of, but every year I've gone through and just stripped them down. So I have them down to single cables. I couldn't take that kink out of it. I have it here on a split. You see it runs that way, and each one of these, when I do grapes, this is how I do it. These are edible grapes, and I take them down to just a couple buds, because each one of these is going to grow such a long whip, and have it trained out. You can see we brought them up now, divided them into two, have them running off, and yeah, like I'm saying, just a couple buds on each one, because each one of these is going to be such a long whip off of here that you want to just keep it simple. Keep it simple on yourself. Don't let them go crazy, or they will be out of control. So you can see all the way down, each one comes up, and tried to just make a T out of it. It comes down to fingertips with the next, and it's a T. So that's a pretty cool little use of space. And that pattern continues all the way down. It's going to be hanging grapes all the way down that in a little row. These are all Clarkias and poppies, and then these are natives that we're leaving. We're leaving all natives. So here's a huge tree. There was the bay tree that was here. Its whole root system is still there. It got burnt and is not dead. It's coming back to life. There it shoots. We're limiting the shoots so that all that energy goes up to them, and we're already lifting them up. These are all the new fences that were built. These were I helped the builder of these, Aaron, do these. And then this is rock wall. It was one of our first things. You can see how big it is. It comes all the way back. But now that's what we're doing. All these fresh wounds that you see is the reason I'm putting the tar on there. And for insects that see in different lights, these glow. These literally light up like a target. And on a micro level, like Honey, I Shrunk the Kids, natural bark is really thick and it's hard for them to chew through, just like a tick has to find your softest spots and the thinnest skin. Same deal. So this allows the beetles and the borers to go straight in, your bad insects. So you see them up with a really natural tar. Gonna get rid of these. These are ragweed. Airborne weeds. Sidetrack. Airborne weeds are some of the worst because they get in the wind and they blow around on you. So don't ever let them get out of control, because instead of just spreading in their local area, they will spread everywhere. And I'm telling you, that's they're top of the list for bad guys. But that's why you're tarring off all your fresh cuts or any wounds on a tree, and the reason why you're painting it up is so there's no easy access spots like, oh, I can just land right there, lay eggs, and we're in. And then this is a elderberry tree. They are so awesome. They have so many medicinal purposes. Elderberries are just the epitome of cool as far as medicine plants. But I took this one and kind of did the flat spray or whatever, and it's working so far. Kind of see it sticking to the fence and just keeping it really simple. This grows like pomegranate or an olive, like a thicket with 1,000 shoots. But I've seen them in the old timers' yards where they get them up to like looking like a single tree. So I'm trying to do like a fence spread because it was out of the pattern in the rows of the rest of the trees, but still a useful fruit tree from the wild, you know, that had grown here naturally. So as we built the orchard, it was like, let's leave that incorporated because it's kind of cool. And then the one beyond it outside the fence is a bay. And you can see we're skirting them all up. And then we got that's a fig. And then the berries look kind of thin, but they come back in every year really heavy. We just get hard frost here. And that's the orchard. And it's gray for them. We'll show you the green for them. And off we go. There you be. And this is my prescribed ladder that I use. I don't use a huge orchard ladder. I'm 6'4". I keep that, and that gives me the height. And anything above that is bird food. So I try and keep it under that to a maintainable height. This is a good one. Morrison's. There it is. Contains asphalt, natural stuff like bubbles up that they've used since Rome and Vikings, like seal ships. Silicous materials, 15%. Glass family, okay, it's rocks. Oh, and then water, 40%. So it's basically ground up rock, asphalt, and water. So real natural stuff. And insects don't like to eat it, put their faces in.